Welcome everybody to the Story Garden. My name is Fiona, and when I knew that we were going to meet today, I planted some special story seeds for you in my garden, and they are in those 3 pots. Each pot corresponds to a song or a story that I will share with you today. Which pot will we start with? Let's start with the middle pot. Can you see what I have there? It's a little daisy, but it hasn't opened yet. And on the pot, there is an F like flower, because in this pot I planted some flower seeds. Now the first story I would like to tell you is a story that is told with the hands. So you can watch me do it, and then we will do it a second time all together. This is my garden. I am planting some seeds in my garden. I'm covering them with rich, dark soil. I let the rain fall gently on my garden. I let the sun shine brightly on my garden. And suddenly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beautiful flowers come out. Would you like to try? So you can do it on your own hand, like I'm doing, or if there are other people in your house, if you've got siblings or parents, grandparents, friends with you, they can do it on your hand or you can do it on their hand. So first, pick a hand to be the garden and lay that hand in front of you, flat palm up, like this. And then with your other hand, or somebody else's hand, pick a finger, and with that finger on the garden you are going to press many times to plant seeds. Now you can plant seeds all over the garden. And then, with this other hand, you cover the garden fingers and you fold them up on themselves, covering the seeds with rich, dark soil. Then, with the free hand, you hover over the garden, a little bit like a jellyfish, as if you were the rain raining on the garden. And then, once the rain has stopped, extend your fingers very straight and be the sunshine, shining heat and light on the garden. And then you can drop that hand, and finally, the seeds have grown, so you can unfold one after the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beautiful flowers. Now, which pot will we look at? How about this one next to me? This pot has the letter C. Yes, like cabbage, because inside I planted some cabbage seeds. Have you ever eaten cabbage? Well, it's very tasty. I've got a song about cabbage that I'd like to sing for you. But now that song is in French. When I was a little girl, I lived in France, and there I learned many songs and stories in French. This one is called Savez-vous planter les choux? And that means, do you know how to plant cabbage? Yes, chou is the French word for cabbage. It's kind of a fun word. Can you say it? Chou. And before I sing the song, I would like to share with you 4 other French words. One is pied, and that is the word for foot. The other is main, and that is the word for hand. The next is coude, and that is the word for elbow. And finally, there is nez, and that is the word for nose. Savez-vous planter les choux? À la mode, à la mode. Savez-vous planter les choux? À la mode de chez nous. On les plante avec le pied. À la mode, à la mode. On les plante avec le pied. À la mode de chez nous. Savez-vous planter les choux? À la mode, savez-vous planter les choux? À la mode de chez nous. On les plante avec le coude. À la mode, on les plante avec le coude. À la mode de chez nous. Savez-vous planter les choux? À la mode, savez-vous planter les choux? À la mode de chez nous. On les plante avec la main. À la mode, on les plante avec la main. À la mode de chez nous. Savez-vous planter les choux? À la mode, savez-vous planter les choux? À la mode de chez nous. On les plante avec le nez. À la mode, on les plante avec le nez. À la mode de chez nous. Now, there is one pot we haven't looked at yet, and that is the flower pot. This pot has a beautiful, delicate plant in it, and it has the letter P. Can you guess what's in the pot? Not a potato, not a parsnip, but a pea plant. Yes, from this plant, eventually, will grow peas. Just like these ones. And I happen to have a story about a pea, and I will tell it to you now. Once upon a time, there was a prince who loved princesses. As a baby, he always wanted his mother to sing him songs and lullabies about princesses. Then, when he was a little boy, his favorite stories were stories about princesses. And then, when he grew into a teenager, his favorite thing was to look at pictures of princesses. Well, he knew what he wanted to do when he grew up. He wanted to marry a princess. When the prince became an adult, he grabbed his paper and he grabbed his paintbrush and he made up a poster. And that poster said, "If you are a real princess, come for tea this Saturday." Well, that Saturday, many princesses came to the castle. There were some tall ones and some small ones, some jolly ones and some gloomy ones, some sporty ones and some lazy ones. Many different types of princesses were there, and the prince had tea with them all. At the end of the day, all the princesses went back home, and the prince was left in the castle, really sad, because none of them had made his heart sing. So he just stood there, looking through the window, when he noticed that the weather was changing. The sky had been so blue and sunny, and now dark clouds were coming, and he could hear some thunder, some wind and some rain. Could you help me make that storm? If you like, you could be the wind. And for that, you need to howl, or to blow, or to whistle. Could you try that? Or if you prefer, you could be the rain. And for that, you just need to tap on something that will make a kind of a tip-tap noise. Or if you've got loads of energy, you could be the thunder. And for that, you could clap. Or you could boom. Boom! And if there's many of you in the same house, you could all be a different element. Would you be ready to try this with me? I will count to 3, and at 3, you can make all the storm noises you like. 1, 2, 3. Well, that was very convincing. Now, would you go out by a weather like this? I wouldn't. I would be afraid of being so wet and cold that I would get sick. But you know what? In that terrible storm, there was somebody walking towards the castle, and the prince saw them through the window, and he noticed it was a young woman, and he thought, maybe it's my princess at last. So he came to open the door, and there he saw a very strange sight. There was a young woman indeed, but she looked so funny. Her hair was so wet, it was all flat. And her clothes were so wet. They were falling strangely around her. And she was shivering, and her skin was nearly blue with the cold. The prince said, Are you a princess? And the young woman said, No, I'm no princess. My name is Jenny, but I'm really cold and wet. Could I just come in for a little bit, just to warm up? And the prince said, Of course, come. We'll give you new clothes, and you can sit by the fire and you can eat something with us. Jenny was delighted. And indeed, the old queen, the prince's mother, gave Jenny some clothes to wear, and she sat by the fire, and they ate a meal together and played some games. The prince was in a great mood. His mother had never seen him looking so happy. And at some point, she took the prince aside and she said, You seem to really like this young woman. And the prince said, Oh yeah, I really like her. I can't believe she's not a princess. She's exactly like the princesses in all the songs and the stories I love. She's funny, she's brave, she's beautiful. Well, said the old queen, she may be a princess, and she doesn't know it. Maybe she's really a princess inside. Don't worry, my son. I have a way of finding out. Just wait and trust me. Well, while the prince and Jenny were playing a game of snakes and ladders by the fire, the old queen went to prepare Jenny's bedroom for the night. And she started to gather up all the mattresses in the castle and to bring them to Jenny's room, singing a little song. 1, 2, 3 mattresses for a princess. 4, 5, 6 mattresses for a princess. 7 mattresses for a princess. And then she went into her garden and she grabbed a little pea. And while singing, and a pea under them, she placed that pea under the bottom mattress. And then it was time to go to bed. And the old queen said, "Sleep well, Jenny." And Jenny said, "Thank you, sweet dreams." And she climbed the ladder to reach the top of her bed. And then it was morning. And when Jenny came out of her room, she looked terrible. She looked tired. And the old queen said, "How did you sleep?" And Jenny said, "I didn't sleep very well, actually. There was something under the mattress. I don't know if it was a little stone but it was really hurting my back. I felt it all night, and I couldn't sleep, unfortunately." The queen, when she heard that, was delighted. She took Jenny's hands in her hands and she said, "Jenny, you truly are a princess." Because only a princess would be sensitive enough to feel a little pea under 7 mattresses. Oh, when the prince overheard that, he too was delighted. And he fell on his knees and said, "Jenny, would you like to marry me?" And Jenny started to giggle. And she said, "We only met yesterday." "I like you a lot, and I certainly want to be your friend first. And then, who knows?" Well, they became great friends, and in time they got married. And every night, before going to bed, Jenny would pass her hand under her mattress to see if there was anything, even a small thing, that would disturb her sleep. And because he knew that the prince sometimes liked to leave a little card, a love letter, or even a little chocolate under there for her to find. And that way, they both lived happily ever after. Now, would you like to find out if you are a princess or indeed a prince inside? Well, here is a test. Later today, close your eyes and see if, with your eyes closed, you can see colors. If you can, at that moment, you are a prince or a princess inside. Now we have come to the end of the story garden. I hope you have enjoyed the 3 stories and songs I shared with you. And if you remember them, pass them on. We had the story of how to grow flowers in the palm of your hand, the story about how to plant cabbage with your pied, your main, your coude, and your nez, and the story of the princess and the pea. I wish you all a very happy Cruinniú and hope that we will meet again.